Okay, so let's take a look at what we mean by psychological safety, why it matters. So in really simple terms, psychological safety reflects the extent to which in any given context, we trust that us speaking up and contributing is going to be welcomed and that what we say won't be judged negatively. Really good way to think about this is in pretty much any interaction, there's going to be two conversations going on. There's going to be what's in our head and what we decide to share. Okay. Now, this is perfectly natural. I think most, if not all of us, learn to filter what we're going to share and what we're going to say at a pretty young age. The problem starts when we hold back from talking about something that's really critical to business performance. So raising an issue early enough, bringing that up at the earliest possible stage, asking questions, asking for help, or a game-changing idea that we might be coming up with. Our assumption is, from basis of working with pretty much any industry of teams, there are bound to be some really critical conversations that you are not having as a team. Even if you feel psychological safety is fairly strong, there's going to be opportunities for improvement in this context. Second reason it's really critical from a business point of view is how psychological safety affects our creativity. So what we know is when people feel social pain, i.e. some sort of negative judgment or a sense of rejection, or even if they fear that social pain, their creativity starts to shut down because the brain goes into more of a fight or flight mode, which deprioritizes the cerebral cortex, the creative part of our brain. And the research on this suggests that we can lose up to 30% of our creativity in the moment when we are feeling negatively judged or not psychologically safe. We obviously want everyone to have their brains firing at full capacity, fully contributing, throwing ideas in, throwing challenges in, bouncing ideas off each other. You're only going to get that happening when you get great psychological safety. So that's what it is in simple terms. What I just want to do for a couple more minutes is just dive into this in a little bit more depth to explore 4 types of psychological safety. Number 1, inclusion safety is the extent to which we feel welcome and valued and a sense of belonging. So this is fairly primal. It's the extent to which we feel safe that our part in the tribe, if you like, is guaranteed and is not up for grabs, is not up for question, okay? From a survival point of view in ancient times, this was really important to us as humans because our survival was very much dependent on being able to benefit from the collective, okay? So our brains are very much wired to watch out for what we think of as sort of belonging cues that tell us, are we valued? Are we welcome? Are we safe in our role in this tribe, okay? And if we feel less safe, we tend to be more conservative in terms of all other aspects of psychological safety. So this explains when someone is new to a team, or if we think back to when we were newer to the team, we're probably going to be a little bit more cautious what we say. And the reason for that is we don't want to rock the boat. We want to feel included and valued, okay? Obviously, the problem with that is that really slows down people's contribution. So what you'd see in really high-performing teams is a focus on how do we make sure everyone feels super included, super welcome right from the beginning, so we're getting their full contribution. So to move on to the second type of psychological safety is learner safety. This is, for me, a really fascinating one. It's the extent to which I guess we feel safe to be vulnerable and show gaps in our knowledge and competence. Perhaps asking questions, perhaps admitting where we've made a mistake and being really open and honest about that, asking for help, okay? So this is really critical from a learning point of view within the environment. If we don't feel learner safety, we're going to hide those gaps, and that just slows down our ability to be able to kind of close that gap, learn from each other. So the next one, contributor safety, has a couple of elements to it. At a really simple level, this is about to what extent do we trust that our contribution in the conversation is welcomed. So to give you an example, you might be taking part in a conversation where you feel a couple of other people in the group or around the table have more expertise. And quite naturally, what we will often do is think, well, actually, my contribution is less relevant here, so we'll start to hold that back. That's obviously not always a good thing, because what we want is that full diversity of views coming into that conversation. It's good to have some humility and be open to the views of others. But equally, in terms of speaking up, we want to bring our contribution into the conversation and not hold it back. In one of the environments we've studied quite intensively, the New Zealand All Blacks in the rugby environment, they have a saying of going for the gap. And what they mean by that is any player is encouraged to take a risk if they see an opportunity. And the environment really puts a huge focus on when people take a risk and it doesn't sort of pan out and it doesn't work, to make sure that there isn't a negative judgment on that, because all of their success is based on that kind of people acting on that initiative. So that's contributor safety. Finally, challenger safety is really powerful in an innovation context. So again, at a simple level, this is the extent to which we feel that safe challenging the status quo. It's kind of the extent to which we feel comfortable rocking the boat and saying something that may not be welcome or challenges existing assumptions, existing ways of doing things. And again, if you look at this from an innovation point of view, what innovation depends on is people challenging our current assumption, our current ways of thinking, our current ways of operating. So if we want to be really good at innovation, what we need to do is really dial up and encourage challenger safety. So I hope that's useful. Fairly quick whistle-stop overview of psychological safety and the 4 types.